At Let's Tell Their Story, we'd like to advise that some content may contain rape, domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, child abduction, and murder. Not all content is suitable for all audiences. Please be advised while listening. Thank you.
Go.
Okay, do you want to hear a story? Or how are we going to do this?
I don't know.
You'll be able to edit it and figure it out from there.
Yes.
So, should we welcome our people back considering it's been a while?
Yes.
Okay, so welcome back to Let's Tell Our Story. The changes have been. Now we have a co host, and we are bringing in my former editor, Quenten. Say hi.
Hello. I'm still gonna be editing
Say
it.
hi.
I'm still
Oh,
gonna
yeah, you're
edit.
still going to be the editor because it's just the two of us. But the other change is that I'm going to be giving you a true crime story, and Quentin, you are going to follow with what?
It's either gonna be either legend or mysteries, stuff that just doesn't make sense to people.
Okay, so like UFOs and weird stuff like that.
Yes, like the cocaine turkeys from Boston.
Oh, okay. So Boston's got now they've got drones and they had cocaine turkeys at some point. Okay. So do you I guess the only way to do this is to get started, right?
Yep, you are going over Richardson. I can never say her first name.
It's my Mitrice Richardson.
Yep, and I am
Oh,
going over the elevator game.
ooh, I've heard of that. It's been a while since I've heard of it, so you're gonna have to obviously you're gonna walk me through it again. But
Yep.
so let's find my all right. So Tree since born Miss Levon Richardson, and she was born to Michael Richardson and Sutton in '85. She parents and I met junior high school. By their senior year, Leticia got pregnant with Mitrice. And I may screw up Leticia's name because I keep wanting to say Latrice and it's Latisse, no R. Uh, when they got pregnant their senior year, they ended up moving in with Leticia's grandmother, Mildred. I love that name, Mildred. Um, because Mildred was more of like a mother figure to Letice than her own mom. And then when Letice had Mitrice, Mildred would watch the baby and whatnot so Letice could finish her schooling. When they both graduated, Letice had gotten a job and Michael was working at a fast food restaurant. And about Mitrice was turning about 4, Michael, while he was working at that fast food restaurant, he decided he was going to earn some extra cash by selling drugs on the side. It was paying good, whatnot, but they were in LA and he got busted. He ended up spending 8 years in uh,
Prison.
a state prison. Yes. Uh, my dates are actually wrong on that because he was released in 1993. And if Mitrice was born in '85 and he was released in '93, he must have gone to prison when she was a baby. Yeah, because her stepdad, Larry Sutton, actually came into the picture when Mitrice was about 4. I'm spitting on myself. Uh, During the 1993, there was riots in LA. I remember when that happened because I don't know what caused the riots. I want to say it was like a football game or something. And I do remember seeing news footage where there was a car that was flipped upside down. You're looking into it, aren't you?
Yep.
Uh, but there was a lot of racist racism and stuff that happened during those riots. It was ugly.
Oh,
Like
it was.
even here in Wisconsin.
Oh, that's in Texas.
It was LA. The 1993 riots were in LA.
Are you sure it wasn't 92?
It might have been 92.
Because 92,
I know.
because 63 people were killed,
Yeah,
1,211 arrests, and 2,383 injured.
that sounds right.
And it happened for 6 days. It was for 6 days.
Yeah. Okay. So
Oh,
when
it was very similar to what happened in Minneapolis.
yeah, it was similar to the George Floyd
Yeah,
situation. I know that yeah, it was very similar.
yeah, very very similar.
Yeah. Oh, my Treese, she grew up and she was an outgoing kid. She loved being outside. Um, she would garden with her grandma, or great. I would be her great grandma Mildred and whatnot. But by the time she got into high school, she wasn't the outdoorsy person anymore. She preferred to stay inside, watch TV, crossword. She was a big dancer. Um, in high school, she was on the cheerleading squad. She was a dancer. She went to high school at, um, I will find it here in a second. My notes are kind of all over. Where's it at? Oh, South Hills High School in Covina. Because during those riots, that's what I was a point with those riots. After the riots, they moved. Larry and Latisse moved themselves and Mitrice to Covina, a suburb of LA, because it was quieter and they didn't want all of the BS from the riots to come in. Because we'll get you why they moved and why it was
Oh, I was gonna say
important for them to.
the riots were aimed towards Korean business owners.
Oh, okay. Well, they were not. The Suttons were not Korean. Um, and when Mitrice got into high school, she wasn't going outside and whatnot because bugs were ew. Um, girls just sometimes they can go from tomboy to girly girly. Uh, and she kept up really good grades. Stop giggling at me; it's not funny. So she graduates from South Hills High School and she gets really interested in psychology and how the brain works, which I loved my psychology classes in high school. I still don't know how my brain works, and I don't think it'd be a good idea to know how it does, especially even yours. Yours is kind of concerning. And yes, we kind of forgot to say this at the beginning, but Quentin's my son. Yeah,
And
so if I switch to that,
I'm thinking of sociology, not psychology.
yeah, so a lot of times in the colleges, you'll take those two classes side by side, though. I took psychology and sociology side by side. Uh, my Treese, she went into uh, school at the California State University in Fullerton, and she actually got her Bachelor of Arts. And she was the first one in her family to ever graduate or go to college and graduate from college.
What is with people in
Yeah.
art school?
Oh, the reason behind the bachelor in arts?
No, it's just
Because it's one step higher than a bachelor's in science, because a BA in science is basically a bachelor's in doodling. So I've been told.
yeah, but at least she passed art class, unlike some other people.
Yeah. Can you hear my dog in the background? She's
Yes.
growling at cats.
Yeah, my cat is just.
And in 2008, that was the year that she graduated, and Mitrice was an open lesbian, and she had been there's a few different
Sources.
yes, thank you. Most sources say that she had a girlfriend named Moon, and then I actually listened to uh, Murder, Makeup, and Mystery with Bailey Sarian this morning, and we got a source somewhere with a Vanessa that um, Mitrice had worked with at a dance club called Deborah's, and it was an LGBTQIA plus dance club. I got all those letters right in order. I'm impressed. And I even had to look at them. But according to my source, uncovered.com, that fall of 2000, the fall of 2009, Mitrice and this Tessa had broken up, and it had seemed to send Mitrice into a tailspin because she allegedly was bipolar. Like on September 16th, she posted on Facebook. Some other sources say MySpace, but MySpace was kind of fizzling out in 2008. So she may have put it on Facebook or on MySpace, but I'm more likely it was Facebook. And she was posting to sleep and her crazy ideas and to see where they were going to take her. And the same day, she was texting friends about being part of the universe and that um, about being part of universe and nature. And she also that same day had sent Latisse a text saying, and quote, "Watch the news today. It's going to shock the hell out of you." End quote. Oh, that evening, Mitrice and Mildred would usually have supper together on Wednesday nights or dinner, wherever you're at, dinner, supper, same thing. And that night she was telling Mildred that she had other plans. Um, oh, I actually forgot to go back. Uh, After she had finished college, Mitrice was working as a cashier, the Santa Fe Shipping Company, and she was also working as a dancer. Oh, I already said about the club. But at the same time she was working at the club, she was also cashiering at the shipping company. And she was starting to try and get into modeling. And like she even got a guest model position or she was a guest uh, at the Playboy Mansion for a Playboy Mansion party. Okay, now we'll get back to where I was. I am all over the place. I am sorry. So after she tells Mildred she can't have supper, she basically like, I made plans with friends. Well, she goes to this really, really high end restaurant called Jeffrey's. And I mean, it's so high end that they valet your car, and
Eh.
she's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. She was wearing a Marley t-shirt with a long sleeve underneath it, and jeans, and a studded belt. Well, while she's at the valet's got to park another car, and well, she's waiting. And when the valet guy comes back, he notices that Mitrice is going through one of the staff members' cars, and specifically the CD collection. And when he asks her what she's doing, she's like speaking a bunch of gibberish. And for some reason, even after this, they allow her to go into the restaurant. And that goes in, and apparently you must order your food before you go to sit. And she orders a Kobe steak and an ocean breeze cocktail, which
Came to $89.
ocean breeze. You weren't. Why are you looking ahead? Stop you.
Because it's on Wikipedia.
Oh, nobody said you could go looking too.
Wait, $89 for a steak?
Yeah. And the cocktail, but like I said, this is a really high end restaurant. Like, not to the point where you have to have a
A little
suit
piece
on,
like
but
this little piece of steak?
yeah, and it's probably got a fancy little peppermint on top of it. Well, while she's she goes in and she sits, orders her food, and she goes and sits down with this table of 7. Stop reading ahead. And
I was just reading the name. So I was just gonna say the restaurant is not how you think you spell it. It starts with a G, not a J.
it's like, okay, so I'm sure we'll have listeners at some point that also listen to Obituary, and they call all of their people that listen G-offs because of that that Jeffries, because it looks like G-off.
Yeah, it
Like
does.
Geoffrey's. And well, while she's at Geoffrey's, if it makes you feel better, Q, down at a table with 7 other people, and they're just kind of like looking like, what? But they don't ask her to leave. The waiters and waitresses bring her food. She sits and she eats with this group of 7. The group of, and while she's there, she's claiming that she's from Mars and that she's there to avenge Michael Jackson's death. And so the group of 7 gets up, they pay for their meal, and she thinks she's going to sneak out with them. Well, she gets stopped, and they're like, no, you didn't pay your fair bill. She's like, oh, they took care of it. And they're like, no, they did not. And she's like, well, I don't have my wallet. And they're like, well, you need to pay for it. And apparently you cannot do dishes at this restaurant to pay for your bill. I'm only giggling because this gets really dark real fast. And so, according to the LA Magazine, the employees at Jeffries, they described her as eccentric. Oh, big word! I couldn't able to say that. Or no, the table that she was sitting with described her as eccentric, but they had never asked her to leave because they probably were like, what do we do? I mean, how would you react if we've got our crew, like, during July, go and have our ice cream at the ice cream place, and we're all sitting there, and somebody that's acting all weird just sits down and like start saying, "Hey, I'm from Mars, and I'm here to avenge Michael Jackson's death," or I'm from Jupiter. You thought I was going to say a different planet, didn't you? That somebody sits down at the park or the thing and says, "Hey, I'm from Jupiter and I'm here to avenge Kobe Bryant's death." Would we ask them to leave? No, because we're Midwesterns and we're polite and we just don't do that.
And we would also wonder what they're talking about.
Well, yeah, honestly, we would probably join the conversation in something totally off the wall.
Oh, I was gonna say
But
the thing is, Michael Jackson actually died like just a few months before this happened, so that's
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I think her mental state was just not there.
because Michael Jackson died in August, um, s June 25th, 2009. Oh, 09.
Okay.
2009. Cannot say. Can't say numbers.
That's okay. Or I've heard people still now say like it's 20025 or something like that. Well, she gets her presented her bill, and like you've already said, it was $89 for that piece of steak and her alcoholic drink. Well, and then she goes and she's like, "Well, I can call my grandma." So she calls Mildred, and Mildred offers to pay for the meal with a credit card, but the restaurant needs a faxed signature from Mildred before she can pay for the bill. It's 2009. Nobody has fax machines in their house. And if you do, you got it hooked up to your printer and nobody
Knows how to work that thing.
might. Exactly. Nobody knows how to use a fax machine off of a printer. Unless if you're some computer genius, Quinn.
Requires like 3
And
programs.
see, it's not easy to do that.
No.
Like even the printer that I've got, I could probably do it, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to scan an email. It's a whole lot easier. And so the owner of Geoffrey's, who is Jeff Peterson, which is Jeff. That makes no sense unless anyway, he has the hostess call the sheriff's department. And the hostess calls the Malibu Lost Hills Sheriff's Department and explains, quote, "We have a black woman here that's acting like she's on drugs and refusing to pay the bill." Hey, she was not refusing to pay that bill. She just couldn't because her wallet was in her car. And they weren't gonna, I don't know why they didn't just have one of the people at the restaurant walk out with her to get her wallet. So, 3 male officers from the Malibu Lost Hills Sheriff's Department show up. That is a lot to say. Where there were 9 witnesses that were telling the officers about how Mitrice's behavior was, and I'm not sure if those witnesses were other patrons or if it was employees. And if I'm not mistaken, if you've got a female, it might vary from state to state, but I know in Wisconsin that if you have a female that is in the process of possibly being arrested, I think you have to have a female officer there. I'm not, don't quote me, but I think that it might be almost positive.
I think it depends on how. I mean, with being LA, they should have it, but like smaller
Well,
towns,
I think it has a lot to do with a pat down.
yeah.
So 2 of those 3 responding officers were at this. I'm gonna attempt to pronounce the one name, Armando Lurerio or Luriro, and Frank Brower. Frank Brower, he ends up giving Mitrice a field sobriety test, and she passes that with flying colors.
Hey, quick question:
And she's telling them, "Hey, yeah,
what town did you say they moved to?
Covina."
Fine.
Apparently, it's a suburb of LA. The closest to anything in California I've been in San Diego, and that was because of your butt.
Oh,
It's Covina. Dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air. Can I keep talking?
Yeah, I'm just curious because that restaurant is like like almost 40 miles away from like the center of Las Vegas or Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Oh wait, never mind. You said what did you say the town's
she's
name was?
nowhere near home. She's nowhere near home.
What did you say the name of the town was again?
Ovina, and she's in Malibu, Lost Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a ways from home. So while she tells the officer, she's like, "Hey, my wallet's in my car. I can pay the bill." Well, she could because eventually they find out that her uh, bank, when they went through her bank statements, they had over $2,000 in her account. But when the officers went to her car, they couldn't find her wallet. They found a bunch of other things, and they happened to find less than an ounce of marijuana. So they end up arresting her, and because of the fact that in 2009 marijuana was not legal in the state of Wisconsin, in the state of
California.
California. I'm going to get these states mixed up.
So the thing with the marijuana, it was classified as a class 3 drug, so it would be having anything over an ounce would be classified as a
She had
felony.
less than an ounce though.
Yep, but
Yeah, she had less than an ounce.
yeah.
It was what she had qualified as a misdemeanor.
Mhm.
She basically had enough to pretty much roll a joint. And so they arrested her on that and defrauding an innkeeper. Basically, it's trying to get out of paying your bill at a restaurant.
Hmm.
And since they were citable offenses at the time, they were able to do that. Well, Mitrice starts making phone calls, and she isn't able. I guess she made a couple different phone calls, but nobody knows who she called and who she was talking to. But Latisse eventually was informed that night that Mitrice had been arrested, and well, Latisse had a 10-year-old daughter that she didn't want to wake up in the middle because this is like 10 o'clock at night. And she's like, "Well, are you gonna keep her overnight?" And the police station says, "Yeah, we'll keep her overnight. She'll be released in the morning." Latisse is like, "Okay, I'll come get her in the morning." Well, about 20 after 5 in the morning, she calls to the police department, and she's like finding out the information on how much is it gonna cost, what's it gonna take to get Mitrice out, and the officers say, "Well, she was released throughout the night." And that is where I'm leaving you with part one. You didn't see that coming, did
No,
ya?
I did not. The part I'm going to talk about is called the elevator game. Actually, the legend originates in South Korea. Nobody actually knows who started it. Um, so and if you follow the steps correctly, you'll arrive in a dark and abandoned road with red red glow, a cross glowing in the distance.
It's easiest to think, do ya?
And if you don't follow these rules, it means you'll never return back home.
If you don't follow them, you won't return home?
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, it wasn't really known until 2010 about it, which is actually really funny because this happened in
That's
2009.
actually pretty recently.
Yeah, but your thing happened in 2009. This really started.
Oh, wow. Whoa. Whoa.
And here, um, so you have to have So you can play with more than one person, but you have to do it a certain different way if you're doing it. Then I don't.
Okay.
So, but you have to make. Yeah. So a lot of people don't know South or Japan because they both have really weird legends. But there is, so you have to find a building that has 10 stories on it. More is fine, less will not work. It has to be 10 stories.
Okay.
So you have to, the reason I said you could be in a group, but it's a little bit different. You have to enter the elevator alone. And then
I don't like elevators the way it is, so when I enter an elevator, I stand in the back corner because when it stops, I don't like that. It
so
makes my stomach go.
so so here's the sequence you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to the fourth floor, second floor, sixth floor, second floor, 10th floor, fifth floor.
Okay.
And if it's done correct,
Fourth floor, second floor, fourth floor, second
no,
floor, 10th
fourth
floor,
floor,
fifth
second
floor.
floor, sixth floor, second floor, 10th floor,
Oh,
fifth.
I thought you said okay.
And then once you get to the fifth floor, there you have a chance of having what a woman may enter the elevator. You're not supposed to look at her or speak to her at all. She's not human. Are you okay there?
Okay. Yep, I'm okay.
So it depends. So if the elevator descends down to the first floor, that means the ritual has failed. But instead, if it goes up to the 10th floor, you've reached another world. So what would happen? Like what will happen if you get to the 10th floor? Is the lights will be off. Like there's like no power. The only thing you can see is a red cross that's glowing in the dim. It's the only thing you can see, pretty much.
Creepy.
And one of the things is, you can't like phones, cameras, and all that stuff.
Okay.
And also, you cannot. So if you go to a building that has multiple elevators, you have to go come back to the real world. You're supposed to.
But if you're in a but if you're in an alternate universe, how do you know it's the same elevator?
I do not know.
Here, wait, you knew that question was coming,
Yeah,
didn't you?
but to return to the same thing, you have to enter the same elevator, and then you have to click 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5, then finally 1. And once you
That's
get
a lot.
so if the elevator begins to rise instead of if it's instead of it descending like it should, going from like the 10th floor 5th floor to the first floor, if it starts going up, you need to stop it before it gets to the 9th floor, or else you cannot get back. So yeah, so there's a few things. Some some say that returning home doesn't mean you're safe because you don't know if you're actually back or not, or you have um like creatures actually follow you back. Shadows.
Oh, that's really creepy. I've never played the elevator game, but I have shadow people at work.
But so okay, and then with the what there's stories about if you actually do her, you're gonna have a pain death or look at her.
Oh, that sounds like the lady that. Oh, it's. Are you gonna have to look into it at some point? But it's the bathtub game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's pretty much like that. And you're and after you're done with this, a lot of people experience nightmares of the one still watching. Like like from the 5th floor.
Your fiance is that woman because I had the nightmare last night that she went to the hospital.
But yeah, that's how that would work. The elevator is really weird, like so. And the weird thing is, what's really weird about this? It says the 4th floor. You know anything about Japan and South Korea culture?
Isn't
Oh,
yeah, isn't there their 4 is R13, right?
yes, 4 is their haunted
That's,
number.
yeah, it's like
So,
R13.
so this is what's really strange about this. A lot of buildings in Japan and South Korea will not have a 4th floor at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like here we don't. A lot of places will go from the 12th to the 14th floor. There is no 13.
Yes. So that is where it gets a little bit strange, and I think that's where people think it comes from Japan or South Korea because it starts on the 4th.
How can it start on the 4th floor? You
Because
got to go to the 4th floor. You go to the 4th floor first,
yeah,
but you're not starting on the 4th
no,
floor.
you're
You're
starting on
starting on the main floor.
yes, but the 4th floor, a lot of places do not have a 4th floor button at all.
Yeah,
So it's like that's probably why people think this is comes from South Korea and Japan is because of that.
that makes sense. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So that is something. I will say, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode.
Yeah, I do too. You guys can follow us on uh, social medias. We got Facebook and Instagram. Do we still have an X?
I think we do. I just have to log back into it at one point. But we do. I'm gonna just
Okay.
say Twitter. A lot easier than saying X.
Well, Twitter, X, yeah, same thing.
We do also now
Um,
have a Patreon, which if you guys want to, you can also what we're talking on to right now is Discord. We do have a Discord server too. So it'll all be in the description for you guys.
and then
Patreon will seconds to
okay.
so the Patreon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiers. The 5th tier is limited space. It only has space for 10 people. So the things are so for the observer is so you get to be able to hear these videos about 24 to 48 hours earlier. All the other ones. So the next one, Storyteller, which will give you exclusives behind scenes, so me editing or us doing research. The
You mean I'm
invest
gonna have to start video saving me researching?
yes. The
Okay. Thanks for the heads up now.
the investigator is where you can get actually a personal thank you from us, and we will have a Q&A after a while. And all of these do have Discord benefits, so if you do join the Discord, your name will be under which one you have. Legend Keeper is you get to see, so pretty much I forgot which one that was, because this is the wrong one.
That's what you have. That's what happens when you've got multiple YouTube channels, Q.
Yeah. What that one was.
We are also hoping in the near future to have merch. Um, it'll probably just be like those rubber bracelets or something that have our name and our little slogan, the stay calm, stay safe, but stay curious. I'm just trying to keep dead air
Yeah,
going.
sorry, I'm just trying to remember what this thing was.
and for our Patreons. And once we get going really good and whatnot, at the end of each episode, we'll call out your names and
Yep, that
give you
is one
a
thing we're gonna do.
honest, yeah.
So, and there is one thing I am going to say. I'll figure out what the Legend Keeper one is. I just looked at it and it's actually the wrong one. So all of them do have, like, if you keep going up tiers, you'll have everything from the previous one go to that one, and the last one is the Phantom Benefit Factor, which is the limited time one, or limited space, and that one gives you a one-on-one voice chat with one of us, with talk about true crime or legend or podcasting. You get to choose a case or legend within reason, and you might be able to get a special Patreon merch.
Yeah, that's cool.
So everybody,
Well, I guess this is our first episode, and we're hoping you liked it.
yep,
If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It helps out a lot. If
and it does
you're
light up, and it
listening
does light
on,
up when we say subscribe.
cool. Also, if you're listening on any of your past platforms, hit that like button. Uh, leave us a comment or leave us a review. Comment 5 stars helps out the
Podcast.
thank you tremendously. You'd be so much help, and then we will be seeing you guys again next Friday for the part 2 of Mitrice Richardson. And Quentin, what do you have for us next week? Or you
Uh,
don't even have anything yet.
nope, I do not, because you messed up my plan.
All right, sounds good. All right, you guys stay safe
Keep curious.
and all right, love you. Bye.
Bye.